Boker tov, boker or, modani lefalecha, ruach chai Join us. let's breathe for a full 3-4 minutes together. Keep breathing in the breath of all life. If you're hearing the rain, breathe in the rain. If you're hearing the cars swish by, breathe in the cars swishing by. If you're lucky enough to be breathing in the breeze of the trees, breathe in the trees. Breathe in the seas. Breathe in the clouds. Some of you might be in the tundra. Breathe in the tundra. When my son was here, we'd be breathing in the dinosaurs. Breathe in the dinosaurs. Nishmat kol chai, tevarech et shemcha Adonai Eloheinu, beruach kol basar, tefaeru teramem zechrecha, malkeinu tamim min haolam, li'ad ha'olam.
If our mouths were filled with his song, if our mouths were as wide as the ocean, Ilufinu ma'ale shira kayam. If our tongues were like the ceaseless surf, they'd sing and sing. If we could praise with a boundlessness, we would praise with a boundlessness, but we might not be there this morning, which is fine. So we'll go as close as we can get. Maybe we're just getting our toes in the surf. Maybe they're a little bit chilly. But we're thinking, Ilufinu male shirakaya.
Mi melach umi yesh melach umi yaharoch lach ha'el hagadol hagibor hanora el elyon konesh shamayim va'aretz ve'alecha u'nisharechacha Shochenat Marom Ekadosh Shemo Shochenat Marom Ekadosh Shemo
Behefi Yesharim Titromam Udivrei Tzadikim Titbarach Shochenan Maharom Vekadosh Shemo Shochenan Maharom Vekadosh Shemo
Uvershon Hasidim Titkadash Titkadash Ovekelem Kedoshim Tithalal Tithalal Shochenat Marom Ekadosh Shemo Shochenat Marom Ekadosh Shemo Uremakalot Revavot Amcha Beit Yisrael Berina Yitba'er Shemcha Malkeinu Do Hor Sheken Chovat Kol HaYitzurim Lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Oreinu Lehodot Lehalel Leshabeach Lefaer Leromein Lehader Levarech Le'aleh Lekaleh David ben Yishaya Becha Meshichecha Shochinat Marom Bekadosh Shemo Shochinat Marom Bekadosh Shemo Shochinat Please rise. Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu Ha'el HaMelech HaGadol HaKadosh B'Shamayim V'Aretz Ki Lecha Na'eh Adonai Eloheinu V'Eloi Yoreinu Shir V'Shvacha Halel V'Zimra Oz U'Memshala Netzach Gedula Gvura Tila V'Tiferet Kedusha Malchut Brachot V'Hodaot Me'atav Yad Olam Baruch Atah Adonai El Melech Gadol Batishbachot El Hodaot Adonai Niflaot Habocher B'Shirei Zimra Melech El Chei Haolamim Yitkadal V'Yitkadash Mei Rabbah V'Yamadi B'Chirutei V'Yamlich B'Chutei V'Chayechon U'Vyomechon U'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Magalav Zman Kariv Yimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Leomei Omaya.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמך דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Amen, amen. Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos. Let's get into gallery view. Everybody, just put yourself in gallery view. Look around you. So many people here are clearly drank themselves silly till like 4 a.m. because they're not wanting to show their face. So, so welcome to 2022. Welcome to a little bit of breath and a little bit of gentleness this morning. We're inviting you to a little bit of like an intimacy, a quietness. I think we want to start the year with intention. So this is our our first Shabbat service of the year, our first morning of the year, 2022. We really have a lot of hope for 2022. So let's go into some breakout rooms. Oh, before that, let's just say, is there anybody here for the first time who came to Romemu for some reason the very first time on New Year's? They're like, my New Year's resolution is to try a Romemu service. And I want to say hello. And if that's you, please just put your name and where you're from in the chat. It's very rare that your very first service is going to be New Year's morning. So it doesn't look like that's happening. Is that happening? No, it's not happening. Looks like
I think
all
there's
of
at
you.
least two. There's at least two.
I don't. Oh, okay. I see. Is there hands?
I think they're in the middle of typing. We have to give
okay. Oh, right. Sorry. Michaela is completely correct. Okay. It's Melanie raised her hand. Melanie Gus Gulish from Lansing saying hello, 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 hello. Instead of breakout rooms this morning, actually, let's have like a free flow of intentions for the new year. Like, what is your, just give us some intentions. Put them in the chat and your names too, if you're here for the first time. Let's read some intentions for the new year. Joy, harmony, connection, health, more Jewish studies, integrity, return to ritual, slowing down, hope, financial peace and health, to be more intentional. Zachor, to be gentle, to remember to be gentle. Oh, to go in deeper love, trust, acceptance, resilience and trust, taking beautiful lessons from this challenging time. These are all such incredible ways to bring us to this next new year. Love and peace, sleep. Oh my goodness. That's a really good one. Begin acting more like an elder after my upcoming birthday. No, you don't have to act more like an elder. Come on, let that one go. Let's all bring ourselves to our inner child. You could be both. You can toggle back and forth. You can be everything. So let's put all of it. Rejuvenation. Let's all go somewhere beautiful. Let's have our next week's service in Costa Rica. Everyone's saying yes to that one. Wisdom. Be silly like Rev Tutu. Yes, yes, yes. I love silly. Wisdom, like just so much. Living more moment from a place of malchut, sovereignty, choice, spaciousness, power, potential, vibrancy, abundance. That's a really gesunde intention. I think from that place, from that beautiful place, we can stand or sit and look at each other. Please just look at each other. Let's give this one big, huge 2022 smile at each other. A big silly smile. Oh. Starting conversion to Judaism, Melanie. That's amazing. Beautiful. You as well. Morsby. Oh my goodness. That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Alana, Bob, you already embody beautiful wisdom of being an elder and also the incredible joy of being connected to your inner child. Welcome, Ro. Hey, Alyssa Marco. Good morning, Ro. Welcome, everybody. So we're going to come together in our true Romemu melody of Barhu. Yai, 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 forming light, creating darkness, making peace, creating more. Hakol yoducha, hakol yeshabucha, vehakol yomeru, ein kadosh ka'Adonai. Hakol yoducha, hakol yeshabucha, vehakol yomeru, ein kadosh ka'Adonai. Take this newly formed light, shed a new light on Zion, new light on Zion, new light on Zion, or Chadash al Zion Tair, V'nefechulanu, Meheira Le'orot. Or Chadash al Zion Tair, V'nefechulanu, Meheira Le'orot. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'meorot. I'm going to take the next intention from the beautiful Becky Marcus, who has a beautiful head on her shoulder. Let's see that again. Put your head on her shoulder. This is love, and this is love. Can we spotlight them for just a moment? This is a beautiful, 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 beautiful example of love. We want to see that head on shoulder. There's nothing better. This is what 2022 should look like. I know it feels so embarrassing, but it's really so inspiring. Inspiring everyone here, because this is what 2022 should look like. This is what Ahava looks like. Love, 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 love. Please let's have you on screen while we sing this love. Ahava, Ahava, Ahava Rabba, Ahava Rabba, We are loved, we are loved by an unending love, an unending, ending, ending, unending, 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 eternal love. You are love, all of you are love, all of you are love. Open your hearts to this love, to this love. Open, open our hearts to receive this love. Love, more 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 love, and more love, more love. You keep such great love, you keep such great love, flowing, flowing toward us, flowing, flowing toward us. You keep such a great love, you keep such a great love, flowing, flowing toward us, flowing, flowing toward us. You keep such a great love, you keep such a great love, flowing, flowing toward us, flowing, flowing toward us. You keep such a great love, you keep such a great love, flowing, flowing toward us, flowing, flowing toward us, flowing, flowing toward us, flowing, flowing toward us. Baruch atah Adonai Hamekaref et Amo Yisrael be'ahava. Let's take the four corners of love from our garments and bring it to our lips, the source of a kiss. Shema Yisrael Adonai
On page 76, Emet atahu rishon ve'atahu aharon. Truth, you are first. Truth, you are last. I've heard our Rabbi David teach this as Emet, comma, Hu, Rishon, truthfully, you are first. Truthfully, you are last. What would it look like if we took ourselves this coming year, and sometimes when we needed to, place ourselves first? What would it look like if sometimes we placed ourselves last?
Cha, cha, cha. Atahu acharon umid baladecha einanu melech Atahu acharon umid baladecha. We continue with our song of freedom. How freeing the truth can feel. Moshe uvnei Yisrael, lecha anu shira besimcha rabah, ve'amru kulam. Mi chamocha ba'elim havaya. Mi kamocha
נהדר בקודש. Tehilo, oh, say, fele. It might seem like we're singing a song that sounds like call and response, and it might sound like it doesn't have anyone responding just right now. And maybe that feels true, but as we embark into our Amidah, to our standing prayer, to our private prayer, maybe we're just not listening for the right thing. Maybe we are calling, and the response is already happening. Shira Chadasha, Shibchu Geulim, L'shimcha al tzvat chayam, Yachad kulam chodu, V'chim lechu ve'amu, Sur Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Uvdei gimunecha Yehuda ke'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch Atah God, Yisrael.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Aki Tehilatecha. Open up my lips so I can sing your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, Lezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך מתמיד ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לך חיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
כשם שמעתי שמות ושמי הרעו, לקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמעתי שמותו בשמנו, ככתוב Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz, kevodo. Az b'kol rash gadol, adir v'chazak mashmi'im kol מתנשאים לעומת רבים, ליום בזם ברוך ימינו. יאי רי 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 רי, איי 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 במקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון.
תתגדל, תתקדש בתוך ירושלים, עירך לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. ועינינו תראינה מלכותך, כדבר האומר בשירי עוזך, בשירי עוזך, בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח. צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה.
נצח נצחים קדושת נקדיש, שבחך כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Silent עמידה. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאיר אדוני פניו אליך, יחונך יישא אדוני פניו אליך, ויעשה לך שלום, ויעשה Shalom, 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 v'yasecha shalom. Shalom. Kadesh Shalem. On page 45 here, but I think it's a different page by you. Yitkadav Yitkadash Ve'Rabba ויאמר דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון ביום אחרון וחיי תכל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו יהי שמי רב המבורך לילה ויום יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתלשמי קדושה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל סלחון וברכון דכל בית ישראל קודם וברכון דבשמיא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Now we are going to go to the Torah service. And as a little transitional moment, we'll just sing Oseh Shalom together before we go into Torah service. But we don't actually have a Torah, so we're not going to do all those Torah blessings this week. But it could be that next week we will. Are you frozen? Die, 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 die. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Yitaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru amen. Yai, 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 yai. Ay, yai, yai, ay, yai, 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 yai. Amen.
Boker Tov, everyone. Good morning. Why get up so early in the morning? Especially today. On any given day, when a Jewish person gets up, we have all of these ways by which we greet the day. We perform ablutions, we wash ourselves, we relieve ourselves. We wear clothing that is fitting to greet the day with. And we say morning blessings. On a day like today, the day after a lot of celebration perhaps, I ask, why get up so early this morning? Well, on a day like this today, if I was back home in my childhood youth, I would get up early when school was not happening, when I had no school, and I would go to the back of our family lot. And because beyond where our house was a river. And we were situated pretty high up. And I would sit there and watch the women on the other side of the river come down, descend the big boulders, and amid a lot of chatter, they would start washing clothes and bed sheets. And pretty soon, because somehow the sound, we have problems with sound here virtually, but somehow the sound would travel across the river to where I was, and I would hear their chatter, what they were talking about, and then I would hear and I would see them remove this clothing and slap it again and again on the big boulders. So as we return to the scene of our Torah reading set by the river, by the Nile, all of this narrative rings true to me, to my childhood mind, and to my seeking mind today, my imaginative one. I am haunted by the body of water in my youth, and I'm also haunted by the significance of the river, the river Nile in our narrative. Moshe himself, that name that he was pulled out of the waters, what kind of name is that? Like, amazing. I had a stack of books right by my bedside when I was thinking of when you were thinking of what to name our children before they were born. The daughter of Pharaoh must have been thinking. So two teachers from the 13th and the 14th century imagined the thought process of Pharaoh's daughter on this process of naming Moshe, naming this child. Just as I have pulled him out, likewise, this being will pull others out. This being will pull out a people, Israel, out of these narrow straits, out of Mitzrayim. Chizkuni says that. And then Sforno, another thinker, respected teacher, Bible commentator from the 14th century, thought, well, Pharaoh's daughter must have been thinking, although I pulled him out of the water, it was only in order that he should pull out others from calamity. I called him Moshe so that he in turn could rescue others from their problems, as I have pulled him out of the water in which he might have drowned. So why get up early in the morning? So in our Torah reading, it begins, this triennial reading begins, and the Lord said to Moshe, early in the morning, present yourself to Pharaoh. Hashkem baboker, v'hityatzev lifnei Pharaoh. And you have to catch him at a precise moment, as he is coming out to the water. Hine yotze hamayma. Is he coming out from the water? Is he going towards the water? Implied either. And when you catch him there, say to him, this is God's voice saying to the Holy One, blessed be, saying to Moshe, tell him, Shlach ami, let my people go. Shlach ami v'ye abduni. Let them go so that they may worship me. Oh, wait, not worship the river, not worship the power, not worship Yeor, this power that and divine entity, being, mother, father, everything, that the river is considered in the theology and in the politics of your people. Why get up early in the morning? Why get up early in the morning? Because it is said in this in this particular choice of words, the Hashkem brings up this notion that someone who is called to a mission is about to do something significant. And you, Moshe, you who came from that water, you get up, you wake up and meet Pharaoh by the water. Rabbi David Ingber had called this an assault on the very theology and power of Pharaoh. An assault on their theology. But also, could it be too, the voices of the women across the river, right, who are washing clothes that I would see and I would imagine, could it be also a gentler reminder? Hey, this is where you, Moshe, were saved. We're doing ordinary things over here. We're washing clothes, but we are calling you on to be a hero. That person, Pharaoh, adopted you so that you got saved. Because of Pharaoh's daughter, you became adopted. You became part of the ruling power. And I was saved. Moshe would think, I was saved from all the decrees of my adoptive family, that the people could be saved. That's what is up with getting up before anybody else gets there, getting up and being present, preempting anything else that would happen. So Moshe, drawn out of the water, is presenting an opportunity for Pharaoh and his people and to be drawn out, to be saved. Is Moshe asking Pharaoh also to be a hero? Well, according to Joseph Campbell, who did a lot of studies about mythical heroes in our myths, a hero is one who ventures forth from the world of the common day to day into a region of supernatural wonder. There, this person encounters fabulous forces and a decisive victory is won. And the hero would come back from all this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on their fellow human beings. Why wake up early in the morning? If you are one who's ever contemplated shifting the way you live and thought about getting up early in the morning, at the very least, getting there before anyone else gets there, this is your aliyah. This aliyah that is the opening to the plagues, makot, to the difficulties, the particular difficulty that is the one of what they say, he'arov, the multitude of wild beasts, the powerful, the strong, the pesky, the one that gets underneath, that gets into your nose, the one that gets inside your ear, the one that frightens you. If you're contemplating getting up and being there, right there with me, this is your blessing. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו עם כל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. אמן. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, השכם בבוקר. Get up in the morning. והתייצב לפני פרעה. And be there. Stand there with Pharaoh. הנה יוצא המימה as he is coming out or to from the water. ואמרת אליו, כה אמר אדוני, שלח עמי ויעבדוני. Let my people go so that they may worship me. כי אינך משלח את עמי, הנני משליח בך ובעבדך ובעמך ובביתך את הערוב, ומלאו בתי מצרים את הערוב, וגם האדמה אשר הם עליה. והפליתי ביום ההוא את ארץ גושן אשר עמי עומד עליה, לבלתי חיות שם ערוב למען תדע, כי אני אדוני בקרב הארץ. ושמתי פדות בין עמי ובין עמך, למחר יהיה האות הזה. ויעש אדוני כן, ויבוא ערוב כבד ביתה פרעה ובית עבדיו ובכל ארץ מצרים. תשחט הארץ מפני הערוב, ויקרא פרעה אל משה ולאהרון ויאמר לכו זבחו לאלוהיכם בארץ. ויאמר משה לא נכון לעשות כן, כי תועבת מצרים נזבח לאדוני אלוהינו, הן נזבח את תועבת מצרים לעיניהם ולא יסכלונו. דרך 3 ימים נלך במדבר, וזבחנו לאדוני אלוהינו כאשר יאמר אלינו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. And a blessing to us, a blessing for all of us, with good intentions, with all our good intentions, to wake up, to get there. משברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, ואימותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה, וbilha וזilpa, and all the women on the other side of the river. May you have blessing of all goodness in everything that you touch with your hands, for you have come today to honor the Torah, to honor Shabbat, to honor this new day, this new beginning of another way we can say, hey, we have an opportunity for renewal. And meet me by the river, and meet all those you have to meet by the river. May you have blessings of success, good health for you and all your loved ones, and all of us who agree, we say,
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Mira. That was beautiful and powerful. So I want to do a quick study with all of you of the next Aliyah. And I found myself having a really interesting reaction to the verses that we're about to read. And I hope you'll see why. But I found myself really sympathizing with Pharaoh. And I was a little disturbed to find that sort of sympathy come up in me. And I want to look at it with you and show you why I felt that way. And then sort of ask, is it okay to sympathize with Pharaoh? Should we sympathize at any point with Pharaoh? I mean, after all, he's oppressing an entire people. He's enslaving them. It's a culture in which, they're killing Israelite babies. Like, how could we possibly sympathize with such an evil man? So let's take a look. I'm going to try to share my screen, see if that works. It's called Sympathizing with Pharaoh. And here are the verses we're about to read. So it says, let's see. So they're in a conversation, Pharaoh and Moses, about Moses wanting to take the Israelites out into the wilderness and worship God for a few days, for a short time. It's sort of like a trial liberation, trial freedom, freedom to worship. And it says, Vayomer Paro, Anochi so I will send you and you will sacrifice to the Lord your God in the wilderness. Don't go too far, right? Don't go far away. And it seems to me like what I was reading here is a little anxiety on Pharaoh's part to let anybody go. Don't go too far in your path or in your walking away. Ha'atiru ba'adi. Plead then for me, entreat God for me. Now, the last time we saw this verb here is over here. Well, actually, it's other places in chapter 8, which we won't go into. But there's a really poignant moment in Genesis where Isaac is pleading with God on behalf of his wife who cannot bear children, who is barren. V'ye'ater lo Adonai. V'ye'ater Yitzchak l'Adonai. And Isaac pleads with God on behalf of his wife. V'ye'ater lo Adonai. And God responds in kind with the same verb, almost like mirroring Isaac's plea, responding by making Rebecca pregnant. Okay, so all right, let's go on. Vayomer Moshe, Hine anoch yotze me'imach v'ha'atarti el Adonai. And Moses says, in response to Pharaoh, when I leave your presence, I will plead with the Lord that the swarms of insects depart tomorrow from Pharaoh and his courtiers and his people. But let not Pharaoh again act deceitfully, not letting the people go to sacrifice the Lord. So Moses uses that same verb about entreating God that Pharaoh asked Moses to do on his behalf. And then if we look at verse 26, Vayetze Moshe me'im paro v'ye'ater el Adonai. So Moses left Pharaoh's presence and pleaded with the Lord, or entreated God. And God did as Moses had asked. And finally, what happens is Vayachbed Paro et libo. But Pharaoh became stubborn this time, or hardened Pharaoh's own heart. Gamba pam hazot lo shilach ha'am, and would not let the people go. So it's interesting that Pharaoh hardens his own heart, I think 3 times before God starts hardening Pharaoh's heart, with verbs that use different degrees of intensity. 6 times I think God hardens Pharaoh's heart, like more passively, and then 7 times actively. I'm not sure I have my numbers correct. But let me say a few things about why I felt bad for Pharaoh in this passage. One is, he's clearly having a hard time letting go. And he's desperate that Moses reaches out to God on his behalf. It seems to me like Pharaoh's actually having a really hard time in himself. And it reminds me of this interview I read with Dustin Hoffman, where Dustin Hoffman says, he would play any role in the world. He really believes in sort of empathy and getting behind a character's sort of consciousness and really deeply understanding a character's consciousness. And I feel like, okay, we can do that and we can still fight injustice. Is that possible? Is it possible to sympathize with Pharaoh and then still fight injustice? And then Dustin Hoffman says, ironically, in the same interview, when asked if he would play Trump, he said, "No, I don't really want to play that. I wouldn't play Trump in a movie." So that was really interesting. So I want to take just like 2 minutes, and if we can open the chat and get your sense of like, do you feel bad for Pharaoh? Is it do you and do you ever feel like there's a Pharaoh within? Like, yeah, it's really hard to let go, and I've just hardened my heart. Is there a place inside us that can act like Pharaoh at times? I mean, not at Pharaoh's worst, but just like, I don't want to let go. I'm letting go and letting you go. Don't go too far away. It makes me feel really insecure. And then suddenly I've hardened my heart because I can't take it. I can't take, all that fluidity and temporality at every moment. It's just too much. That book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, it really is unbearable. I've read the book, but I love the title, right? It really can be unbearable. So let me see what people have to say. Let's see. Yeah, the places we are blocked, what we discussed this morning in Open Book. One cannot learn from the mistakes of a monster, only from the mistakes and flaws of a fellow human. In other words, Asher Chaim, you're calling Pharaoh a monster. Is that what you're saying? Anyone else? Any other?
I think Asher Chaim is maybe saying the opposite.
Oh,
Even though Pharaoh might seem as a monster, the best way to learn from him might be to see him as simply a fellow human being.
Beautiful. Thank you for interpreting Asher Chaim. Beautiful. Asher Chaim's nodding in agreement. Yeah, so that's interesting. Humanizing Pharaoh, because even monsters are human beings, or human beings behave monstrously at times. Let's see. We embody rather than masking the power of even the hardened heart, and find below that our vulnerability becomes a gift. Yeah, I agree that somehow recognizing those weakest moments and owning them, we kind of become more expansive. At times, of course, I feel like a monster. Do you, David? And need to keep others close in subjugation to my will. Who honestly doesn't? Thank you so much for articulating that. Keep others close and sometimes keep others far away in one's monstrousness. At least that's how I experience it. For me, it's easy to have empathy for him when confronted by Moses. Not earlier with the murder of children. I totally agree with you. In this passage, somehow, my heart is moved. Totally agree with Asher Chaim. I try to keep in mind that hurt people hurt people. Yeah, beautiful. Wow. Pharaoh did allow Moses to get raised in his palace. Good point, Devorah, and such a wonderful opportunity for Midrash in that case. Like, what was Pharaoh's relationship to Moshe as the daughter of Pharaoh was raising him? And the Prince of Egypt is a beautiful Midrash on that question. Our attachments come from the pain of the inner child. Yeah. Our attachment wounds, and when gone unchecked, leads to trying to control things, people around us. We also have this tendency, yet are at different places on the spectrum from each other, and different places on the spectrum within us at any one moment. Like sometimes I feel like I'm so expansive, I can accept anything, and other times like all tight and I'm totally shut down. Such a useful pivot to acknowledge the humanity of even our pharaohs within and without. By demonizing, we cut off important sources of transformation and information too, right? Thank you, Alana. Curious about the point that Pharaoh was a grandfather figure in addition to the leader-oppressor role. Yeah, I mean, there's a new Pharaoh at some point. So what the Prince of Egypt does is make it one Pharaoh instead of having the Pharaoh die and then another Pharaoh emerge. Okay, I'm going to read one more. I'm going to try to read quickly pieces of the next 3 comments, and then we're going to go forward. Speaking of letting go, it's hard for me. You support your emotionally abusive ex-husband for 15 years. Ooh. Daily, almost, I wrote about the experience blow by blow for the years. Wow. And now had to go through my house and clear everything out due to mold remediation, I have found that I could not let go of all the writing. Wow, that's powerful. Okay, Jessica, for me, I think of paradoxical curiosity and sacred liminality, wonderful practices. Aren't we all Moses and aren't we all Pharaoh at different times? Yes. We have the potential to be both. We reach for the light and acknowledge the shadow. And I find acknowledging one or the other allows for the other one to emerge, right? We emerge in all our complexity and subtlety. We can feel empathy and we can understand those with whom we disagree deeply. It does not stop us from taking any necessary action to stop them if they're, yeah. Sometimes I have a hard time holding both those things, but thank you, Neshama. You've articulated it beautifully. Finding the divine image in the other, even the enemy, is a challenge of our age. Yes, Sasha Chaim. Could have been worse. I kicked him out at 15 years, not 30. Kathy Lynn, that's wonderful. I love that. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Bob, would you like the Aliyah? Would you like to say the blessings for the Aliyah? Sorry, that wasn't much of a transition. I'm feeling the pressure of time, but I feel like you all captured the complexity beautifully, like sympathy, empathy with those parts of ourselves and with, the evil actors without, because there are some evil actors, and yet the necessity to respond and protest. Thank you so much. And thank you, Bob.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch L'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach L'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Paro Anochi Eshalach etchem uzavchem L'Adonai Elohechem b'midbar Rak harchek lo tarchiku lalechet Hatiru ba'adi Vayomer Moshe Hine Anochi Yotze mimach והתארתי אל אדוני בשערו מפרעה מעבדיו ומעמו מחר רק אל יוצא פרעה התל לבלתי שלח את העם לזבוח לאדוני ויצא משה מעם פרעה ויתר אל אדוני, ויעש אדוני כדבר משה, ויסר הארון מפרעה מעבדיו ומעמו, לא נשאר אחד, ויכבד פרעה את ליבו, גם פעם הזאת, ולא שילח את העם.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet b'chai olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Misha berach avatenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov. Tzar Rivka Rachel v'Leah. He tivarech hu yivarech Baruch Yehoshua ben Tzvi Ze'ev HaKohen v'Chana Freito. God shall bless you, Bob, with a complete healing from your somewhat recent surgery. And you look wonderful and strong, and may you be strong and happy and healthy in 2022. And may God bless your activist heart and your activist powers and energy, and may that sense of purpose go a long way towards healing you physically, and may your physical healing allow you to step forth in the world in the ways that we all need. So, amen.
2 a.m. and the rabbinical students stand in their bathrobes, by Yehoshua November. 2 a.m. and the rabbinical students stand in their bathrobes at the edge of the yeshiva parking lot, watching the practiced motions of muscular firemen disembarking from their engine. Soon, it will be determined that the youngest student in the building pulled the basement alarm after learning over the dormitory payphone his parents, back in Baltimore, intend to end their 19-year marriage before Passover. The only one the rabbis have not accounted for crouches in his closet behind a row of black sports coats. And because the yeshiva caters to souls, but also bodies, the early morning mysticism class on why the divine presence cannot dwell amongst those plagued by sadness has been canceled. Our Torah portion that we're about to read is right as a plague is brought down upon the animals of Pharaoh's kingdom. And it's interesting. It makes very clear, and the commentators have a conversation about this, that none of that plague hits any of the Israelite animals, any of their livestock. But in the Mishnah, in the codification of oral law, in Mishnah Ta'anit specifically, it talks about what happens if this was the case, if a plague or it actually gives a few different examples. It gives out drying out of crops, plant disease, locusts, chasil, which they're not sure like what kind of bug that is, but they're pretty sure it's a bug. If a wild beast comes into town, and also if there's a conquering empire coming towards you, all of these things are things worthy of, number one, blowing the shofar, and number two, fasting. Mishnah Ta'anit is all about fasting. It's a really fascinating conversation about how the rabbis understand the role of their physical being and the spiritual well-being of the rest of the world. I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you're curious about that kind of thing, Rabbi Noah Kushner gave a really beautiful Rosh Hashanah drash about this 2 years ago. You can find it online, about the spiritual well-being of the world and how we understand our own relationship to our bodies and to the outside world. When I heard this poem, which is really striking and beautiful and had brought up so many questions for me, and then when Rabbi Mira was talking about waking up in the morning, I was like, oh, this is a very different waking up in the morning. There's two different types of waking up early in the morning. There's the type when you set the alarm, or maybe you set 4 or 5 alarms like I do. And there's the type when maybe something else sets an alarm, or it's a baby in the room next door who happens to be crying, or a fellow student pulls the fire alarm. And it got me to think about what are the times in which we feel the ability to call out. And Rabbi Dayan talked a lot about this last night, about calling out and how that's a really essential part of the Exodus story. And what does it feel like right now to maybe feel like we don't have the capacity to call out, or maybe we don't know how to call out, or maybe the only thing we like know how to do is to like pull a fire alarm and cower in a closet. And thinking about the punchline of this poem, which I'm calling it a punchline because I genuinely think that it's so like on the point of everything that it feels you have to laugh because it feels so real that this yeshiva caters not only to souls but also to bodies, and this interconnection between spiritual well-being and our bodies, and the unclear leaving of this of, do they cancel the daily mysticism class in the morning because there's a student who's sad, and also because all the students were up all night? What is the body that they're assessing? What is the spiritual energy that they're assessing? And thinking about how for the Israelites, this was really a moment in trying to figure out what that call was, and trying to figure out what that felt like, and the repercussions right, of pulling the fire alarm, if you will, are all of the people around it. We just spoke about seeing the empathy for Pharaoh and thinking about all the Egyptians who are kind of caught up in all of this, who presumably have some type of role in the oppression of another people and are also people. And that really challenging dynamic of wanting to feel something. Later on, there's a really beautiful midrash that's brought about the Song of the Sea, in which all of Pharaoh's chariots are being washed away to sea. And all the Israelites stand on the shore singing, and the angels turn to God and point at the Israelites and say, look, they're dancing. They're dancing while your creation is dying, pointing at Pharaoh's army, and thinking about the unexpected consequences of calling out the very complex, not so simple reality that sometimes asking for help has consequences, and doesn't mean that we shouldn't call out, but just the complexity of this story, the complexity of wanting to both address the soul and also the body and the interconnection between those two. And I'll totally own, I really liked this poem, and I was going to really try to make this work because it's just such a great poem. And I heard it and I was like, I feel that in like every way. I feel sometimes like I'm the one pulling the fire alarm. I very often feel like I'm the yeshiva student standing outside my bathrobe while somebody else has pulled the fire alarm, and my only concern is how cold I am. Sometimes I really like to think that I'm also the firefighters. Sometimes when I'm like talking with family members and former campers, I feel like I'm the rabbis who are like presumably very worried and looking and trying to make decisions about like, should we cancel this? Do we really have to move online? Should we drive? Should we not drive? It's raining, all those things. And I just wanted to pass that along to us as we reach a really pivotal part in our transformation as a people, especially right now, as we seem like we're in so many different places, yet we're reading the same story. And we're about to get to freedom. So I invite you for a moment, Chazan Basia said this was a great idea, so we're going to try it. If you would like to unmute yourself and recite the bracha all together in total chaos, I invite you, please, to do so if you feel called by if you're any character in this story. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Adonai Habarach
Baruch Adonai,
Olam Vaed
Shalom
Baruch
Adonai,
Adonai Elohim Melech Haolam Asher banu mikol ha'amim Natan lanu et
Noten HaTorah,
Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. ויאמר אדוני אל משה בוא אל פרעה ודיברת אליו כה אמר אדוני אלוהי העברים שלח את עמי ויעבדוני כי עמהם אתה לשלח ועודך מחזיק בם הנה אדוני הויה במקנך אשר בשדה בסוסים בחמורים בגמלים בבקר ובצאן דבר כבד מאוד והפלה אדוני בין מקנה ישראל ובין מקנה מצרים ולא ימות מכל לבני ישראל דבר. וישם אדוני מאוד לאמור, מחר יעשה אדוני הדבר הזה בארץ, ויעש אדוני את הדבר הזה ממחרת, וימות כל מקנה מצרים ומקנה בני ישראל לא מת אחד. וישלח פרעה, והנה לא מת ממקנה ישראל עד אחד. ויכבד לב פרעה ולא שילח את העם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך
מלך
העולם,
העולם,
אשר
אשר נתן
נתן
לנו
לנו
תורת
תורת
אמת
אמת,
בחיי
חיי
עולם
עולם
בתוכנו.
בתוכנו.
ברוך אתה
ברוך
אדוני
אדוני
Chataran
נותן
in
התורה.
HaTorah.
Mishaberach, Mishaberach Labotenu V'imotenu. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless us to keep building this yeshiva that caters to both the soul and the body. That feels like very much what we're trying to do here. And I know it doesn't feel like we're building, and I know it doesn't feel like we're a we, because we're all on a little Hollywood Squares Zoom call. But that's really what we are doing. And I hope that this year, 2022, is just filled with a lot of building of that space so that we can feel like we can be the person who needs to cower in the closet for a little while, and that we can also be the firefighters, and we can be the rabbis who are coming in to double check that everyone is okay and safe. And that's really my blessing for all of us, is to feel like we have this space within this community and also within this poem, to feel seen and carried through this next year.
Amen. Jackson, that was so beautiful. I think it was such a beautiful way to really connect to all these sides, all these ways that we are in the world, and all these ways that we can either help or be in a state of fear or anxiety, because it's all true. We are all those things all the time. So love that so much. And I think it's a beautiful way to transition to the healing prayer this morning. If you're praying for somebody who's in need of healing, or if you yourself are not feeling well, feel free to put the name in the chat. We'll open the chat, and let's really just hold all these names, hold these souls, all these bodies and souls who are suffering in all these different ways. Chat is now open. We'll also share the names in our community and for friends and family of those in the community. And let's hold everybody together and pray together. Ana Elna. Ana Elna. Ana Elna. Ana Elna. Efana Allah. Oh, Ana Elna. Ana Elna. Ana Elna. Efana Allah. Oh, Ana Elna. Ana Elna. Ana Elna. Yishaberach Avotenu V'Imotenu, Sarif Karechel V'Lei Avram Yitzchak V'Yaakov, and the merit of our ancestors, the merit of the Torah that was so beautifully brought to us this morning, and the merit of all those who are playing and praying and being in Vayater mode with their loved ones. We wish those who are in need of healing fast, speedy, full recovery, and we all say Amen. 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 And now we return back to our hearts with V'hashivota, and 57 if you're in the traditional Prager. If not, it's another page. But you know what? It's call and response anyway, so that's good. All good. Okay, let's move our bodies a little bit. Move your bodies and your souls. Drum solo.
Okay, it's time for Kaddish. If you are remembering a loved one, feel free to drop the name in the chat. And this is the prayer by which we affirm life and the divine source of everything in the face of death. Alan Miller, Cantor, Paul, Freemack, Ruth Kuhn Youngerman, Rabbi Yehoram Ben Kalman Max, Joseph Fioravanti. Okay, and please look at the other names on our Kaddish list. And when we recite Kaddish in a moment, I'm going to actually ask people to unmute because I feel like there's something very appropriate about a Kaddish being said in cacophony. Or unmute if you're saying Kaddish and you'd like to have your voice join everyone else's. Yikadal v'yikadash.
Shemay Rabbah.
Unmute if you're saying Kaddish and you'd like to
have your voice join everyone else's.
Bioma Divra.
Radibra Yamlif Nufakus Hey Achon Diomechon Edakos Vayekomis Agalavi Sari Vimru Ame Ishme Rabamava Ramame Amaya Kara Shabbat Yitbar Rishman Dikase Hajar Vikalad Shalom
Ayla.
Rabin Kol Berata Vishirata Kushata Nechamata Andiamavindu Amen Yehesh Lama Rabba Aya V'chaim Aleinu V'Aleinu V'Imru Amen Oseh Shalom B'Mama Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Yisrael Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'Imru Amen.
May their memories be.
Amen. 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 Oh. We're going to fill this incredible cup with blessings because there have been so many blessings this morning. What a beautiful, thank you so much for spending the first day of the year 2022 together with us this morning. It's really great that you've been here and praying together. January registration is now open for morning minyan, daily meditation with Rabbi Ingber and friends. The Hasidic Masters continues in Beit Midrash every Tuesday night. It's going to be a very full and very rich year of learning. Into this cup of blessing to our davening leaders and Chazan Bas Yeshechter, woohoo! Sorry. Rabbi Diane Kohler-Esses, thank you so much for your incredible deep Torah. Rabbi Mira Rivera for your poetic historical Torah, for JSI Rabbinic intern Jackson Mercer for your family systems poem Torah, and Shai Wetzer for the incredible percussion and rhythm that we've had the blessing to have with us this entire last 3 weeks during our holiday vacation. Now your vacation is over, you're off this week back to the road, and we're going to miss you immensely, and we're going to welcome you back when you come back. I can't wait to play with you again. And our Torah readers, Rabbi Mira Rivera and Ariella Noy, beautiful Torah reading. And to our morning staff team, Mikali, Morin, and Michaela Sia, for your incredible hosting, for keeping us on track, for noticing where the holes are. We're just really super grateful. Actually, for the Vishamru, why doesn't like the whole team, why don't we all unmute and we'll kind of figure it out all together. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat V'dor Tamerit Olam. Jackson.
Oh, I see what you meant. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorot Haberit Olam. Rabbi Mira, key.
Sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorot Haberit Olam. Diane, Rabbi Diane.
Vayom hashvi shava vayinafash, shava vayinafash, shava vayinafash.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorot Haberit Olam. Rabbi mirror with the most impressive Kiddush cup.
Wedding.
Al Kain.
כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו סברי.
L'chaim.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen. Adon olam asher malach v'terem kol yitzir
Midrach
Yasam Chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra V'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora Hu haya ve'hu oveh ve'hu yeh letifara ve'hu echad v'yein sheni lecham shilo lehachbira li'reishit ve'litachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamizrah ve'hu eli echai go'ali v'tzor chevli v'yetzara hu nisi manosli v'latkosi v'yom ekra בידו אפקיד רוחי ואיתי שם יאירה עם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא יירא Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom to Jonathan Fastberg and Baby Sam. Shabbat shalom to David Willinger, to Asher Chaim. Shabbat shalom to Neil, to Judy, to Ariel. Shabbat shalom to Alyssa. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom to Farouk. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom to Alana Goodman. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. If you want to unmute, you can do a quick good Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat